What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Team Solemn Circus live video. On the left side here, we have Atlantean, Mermail going up against Fiendsmith, Ryzeal on the right side. We're playing the Fiendsmith, Ryzeal on the right side. That's going to be the deck profile you guys saw yesterday on the channel. We're going to see that we end up losing the die roll here, so the Atlantean deck is going to be choosing to go first. Now, this deck does get a lot more support in the next set, making it significantly better here, but we are going to be having to force to normal summon out the Abyss Spike and dumping a Minstrel. We chain an Imperm, and they simply just pass turn on this. And so this is like one of the problematic cards, or problematic issues with the Atlantean deck right now. Is that if you start off with a starter like this, where you end up discarding a card, and it's not going to be a card that kind of does anything else, you're going to be just stuck on just passing like this if you don't have another extender. So one hand trap can kind of cook this deck. In case you didn't see here, they discarded a card that's not going to do the greatest. You know, that card in the hand with another water monster, they would have activated that prior to look at our hand ripping a card. But in this case, they have no other water monster to discard for the Abyss Spike. Therefore, it's just going to be kind of a pass turn. We're going to normal summon the Ice, which is then going to X. X is then going to go to Search. And we kind of have the full Ryzeal and the Fiendsmith combo in this. You know, this is going to be the best normal summon of our deck. Being able to go up into the X, getting us a search for the sword, and then we can go up into the Exile Knight. We don't even need to activate the effective Exile Knight. We're going to go up into the copy of the Requiem, and now you can see how we have both access to the Fiendsmith as well as the Ryzeal combo. So now we're going to open the Lacrima. Lacrima is going to be doing the Engraver here, and then we are going to be going up into the Princess. Now this means we may have a copy of Engraver in the hand to search for a track. That's going to allow us to get an additional search here. So we do see them now draw one. I guess I should say I draw one here because I am the one playing. But yeah, so we draw one off of the Princess. It's going to be kind of the line. We're going to activate the effect of Engraver, putting back the not really matter which one we put in. We're going to put back the Exton Knight there, then we're going to go anything here. And they do chain Nibiru here. This is going to be allowing us to not make that Caesar because the next line is going to be a Caesar. So that's going to be pretty fine for us though, because we do have the copy of the track, allowing us to search for the Lurie, discarding Lurie, summoning the Lurie. And now this is going to be able to let us go up into the sequence. And if they don't have another way to stop sequence here, it's going to be pretty rough. So we do go up down to sequence. They have to have eventually a Veiler to stop this. And we're going to activate the effect, putting back all of the Engraver as well as the Lurie, leaving this sequence, or leaving the Requiem as well as the copy of Lacrima in the graveyard, which is going to allow us in the follow-up turn to send the copy of Engraver or the Trap. And we do now link up into the Agumde, and then now we're going to be able to activate the Agumde effect, allowing us to tribute itself off to something back to the Desiree. We could activate the Desiree effect if we wanted to, but we're opting not to do that because we want to equip the sequence to itself. So we then activate the Agumde, summoning itself out, then we happen the sequence, and now this is a 58 attack sequence that does piercing battle damage, and we still have the sword in our hand to kind of continue our combo here. So now we're going to be going into the sword, summoning itself out, then it's going to activate the effect, allowing us to search for the X, and we then activate the X, sending to the graveyard. It doesn't necessarily matter. Now this could have been a way for us to dump something else. We're going to dump the Meter Logic just in case we have to have follow-up, sending itself out. We are now locked into rank 4s, and we go up now into a Dual Drive. Dual Drive is going to activate the effect, attaching the Ice, which is going to be allowing us to have them negate. And they do Ash the Dual Drive secondary effect to search, but they're not left with one card on the field, so not really, or one card left in the hand. And that Nib is going to be going away pretty soon, so this is still going to be a pretty good combo no matter what. We do have the extender already in the hand, being the Node. So it's going to be kind of allowing us to freely extend into that detonator, which is going to be a problem. We also have the Bonfire here, which I definitely think could be a misplay. We should have actually activated the effect of Node, sending the Bonfire in the hand rather than searching for the Ice and sending the Ice. But it's not going to matter in the grand scheme of things. It's just going to essentially allow us to kind of have less of the stuff there. And so now we're going to go up into the detonator, and they had a secondary Ash in the hand, so definitely not the greatest. You know, having multiple hand traps and just like your best starter alongside a card that you don't really want to see unless you have like multiple water monsters is definitely not the greatest for Atlantean. Now we had like the full combo that you absolutely needed. I think we had another hand trap as well in the hand, so it was like a very nice combo for us. And having the second Engraver to let us get that additional draw is just kind of crazy. So yeah, we see that Ryzeal, Fiendsmith, the deck of the format ends up taking game 1 here, but definitely stay tuned for game 2 because Atlantean is a crazy deck. Like this deck, when it pops off, goes off. So let's say we replace another Ash with like let's say a copy of Dragon in the hand, or Dragoon or whatever. So we could have seen the Mermail Deep Sea Diva, whatever it's called, activate the effect, pitching itself in the Dragoon. Dragoon would then be able to search, as well as the Diva would let us see our hand and then rip one of their cards. So we could have ripped like the Ash Blossom or whatever that we end up seeing we want to hit out of our hand. We also get the hand knowledge, which is very crazy. It comes back during the next standby phase or whatever, but that doesn't necessarily matter because the hand trap's going to be not used. And then they get the effective Dragoon ability to search for a card, and they have the then the normal summon of the Abyss Spike, activating the effect. We do discard, let's say, whatever we search out the Dragoon, and then they kind of get to go combo off there. So like they have the stuff like that, as well as the Ash and Nib in the hand. Like it's just a very powerful combo deck. But unfortunately, with a combo deck, you do have to play some of those soft bricks, and the water deck does have a little bit of those. I want to say like water bricks, but like when you open up the hand traps in a high hand trap format. But now we're going to be seeing us going into game 2 with Atlantean being chosen to go first once again, and now we're going to normal summon out the Prince. This guy is going to be crazy, allowing us to dump for cost, then be able to activate the effect. So yeah, we see them activate this. I honestly don't know the Atlantean cards that well. I'm not the best at this deck. It's definitely a heavy combo deck. I know that Brad loves this deck. So we're going to be seeing them dump the Goons, or Squad, or whatever it's called, one of the newer cards. It's going to activate the effect, allowing us to search for another new card, being in that beautiful QCR rarity there. This deck is gorgeous. It used to be gorgeous in the ultis from the Astral Packs, and now we have the QCRs, which can be absolutely incredible as well. And we do activate the effect going into the Abyss Spike, and we do Veilers once again, and they send the Dragoon here, which then is going to allow this to add a card. And like, I'm not saying I wasted a Veiler, but it definitely felt like I wasted a Veiler here. I know that you're supposed to hit this card as well as the one that they searched the first time, the QCR one. They searched off the Goons, or the Squad, whatever it's called. I don't know which one it is. It's like the revamp of Goons or Squad. But now they're going to search for Moon and Glacier, and this card's going to rip 2 cards out of her hand if they do pair it correctly. Now we're going to go up into the one that you should Ash here. This is like the newest one from the Rhoda. I believe maybe it's not Rhoda. Maybe it's whatever the last set was. But it's going to like summon out one from the graveyard and then summon one from the deck. So we're going to be summoning out the copy of the level 5 that sums up 3-1. Now we're going to go up into the Bahamut Shark, and before you get to activate anything here, we do drop a Nibiru here. This is going to be one of the best Nibiru moments to hit in the deck before they end up making it totally awesome, and getting the effect of the Collapse Serpent to kind of like shit on the field with a bunch of level 3s. So we give them a token now, and the token's still going to be pretty big, and the Moon Glacier is now shut off because of the fact that they do have more than 5 water monsters in the graveyard, which is important that it has to be exactly 5. So obviously in this combo they would have been able to summon out Toad, have another 5th in the graveyard, then we will summon out the Moon Glacier. Now do take a second to read this card because we want to be like, okay, can it shuffle back cards to have 5? What's the purpose of this? So now it's just a brick in the hand. They do go Thrust, and then Thrust is now going to allow them to search for a Talents or a copy of D-Barrier. So like the reason why they didn't activate Thrust earlier into the one Veiler is because we didn't have any cards set onto our field, or we didn't have any monsters on our field. So if we have like another low impact hand trap like Ash Blossom, it's not going to make that much of a difference in the hand trap game. Now Nibiru unfortunately is going to be a high impact hand trap, but if we did activate that, we didn't have a monster on the field, so they couldn't even activate the talents that they would have had the set, and they wouldn't have been able to see our hand either. So having to pair the talents or the thrust in a case like this going first is not always going to be the best. So they do end up setting a D-Barrier here, I believe. And it's going to be pretty problematic for us to kind of beat that there, because it is a very good card against our Ryzeal deck. So they do just set that D-Barrier and then pass turn here. And this is going to be a turn scale if we don't find a way to get to our Fiendsmith engine. So we are thinking, well, we do have a Lurie in the hand, so it's going to be our normal summon in this case. Not the best normal summon at all, but not also the worst. It is going to be giving us access to the Fiendsmith combo, but it is also not a good normal summon. So we're going to now go up into the Requiem. Requiem's going to activate the effect, and this would be an amazing place to Ash, looking at what we had in our hand. If Track's not going to do anything anyways, we have to like Track for a copy of Engraver, discard Engraver, put back to summon out. But now we're going to go up into the Lacrima because we did not get the Requiem Ashed. Now we're going to see Lacrima dump the copy of Engraver. So now we have access to multiple different lines in the Fiendsmith package here. We're then going to look at our extra deck, trying to debate if we want to go for a Caesar line or if we want to go for a sequence line. So the fun fact with the sequence into Desiree is Desiree can actually negate the copy of D-Barrier if we pair it correctly. We're going to attach to the Lacrima. We attach for the Engraver here, and then we're going to activate the effect, sending the token to the graveyard, just so we can time to deal a little bit more damage. So this is kind of guaranteeing us that we're not going to go for the Caesar now. So they have a copy of Nibiru in the hand, it's going to be pretty nice for them. So with the Engraver sending with the Requiem, we now are forced to go into the Desiree. And I don't necessarily think that's going to be the correct line, but we are going to now go up into the new one, which banishes, dumps the goons, which then just sends them to the graveyard and draws a card. So double interruption. I definitely did not know this was a card. Definitely threw that a little bit, but it's not going to matter because we would have still lost it on the Caesar anyways. He doesn't summon anything there. So we're going to then go for a dump of the X with the copy here of the Exciton Knight. And this is going to allow us to put back with Engraver later on in the next turn. We're going to go battle phase and attack for 35, I believe. And then we're going to be going up into Ice, Ice Send, and Ice cannot activate the effect because it is only on normal. So now we do realize we made a misplay. We should have actually done Ice first, send the Nib, and then summon out the X, because X can then be able to activate the effect letting us search. We definitely made a misplay there. So kind of important to note that you should, even this deck is like pretty straightforward, you have to kind of orientate your deck kind of correctly. And we do see the spike, or whatever the card that they ended up discarding the first turn. Look at our hand here. They're going to activate that. They're sending the copy of Squad to the graveyard. And like this just gets rid of our one card in the hand, which is going to be a Ghost Ogre. But it was a hand trap, so it's still going to be pretty nice for them as well. As you know, Ghost Ogre would have been a pretty good card to use against this deck. There is some good Ghost Ogre targets. I know that the Link 4 is or Link 3 is a pretty good Ghost Ogre target, as well as like any of the other ones. But yeah, so then we see Squad summon out the Prince once again. And we have the Lacrima summon out the Requiem. Requiem's going to be dumping the trap here. But we actually, we're going to see Lacrima dump the trap. We actually sided out the trap here, which was a huge misplay as well. So that's kind of two misplays on our parts. You always want to keep the trap in the deck when you're playing against a slower deck. Now, obviously, this is a combo deck, so you probably wouldn't keep the trap in. But in this case, when we are going, like this is turn like 3, the trap obviously comes up quite a bit. So it's kind of like debating on what you want to put in. We put in a bunch of hand traps, which we took out like a track. We took out the Paradise. We took out a copy of Bonfire, stuff like that, so we can use those Molcharmy cards, which would hopefully draw us into more of the engine rather than like having a bunch of consistency cards. Like the Molcharmies are hand traps as well as consistency in that case, because they do summon a whole bunch in the deck. You know, they have one card that summons like 3 of them from the deck. So if you end up like choosing a Molcharmy at that point and they chain it, you're going to be summoning 3. You're going to be adding 3 cards here. So it's kind of important that that's kind of how it's going to go. So we're going to end now sending the Moon and Glacia to the graveyard to be allowing us to summon. And they have used a whole bunch of their water monsters here. So they are going to be kind of low in their deck. But they have a bunch of different cards. And cards summoned from the graveyard as well, which is pretty nice. And they have like a fat hand as well. So we're going to be seeing them go with the, I believe this is the Ymir? No. They're going to be sending the same guy that they just banished in the previous turn with the Moon and Glacia to summon out. And they have gone through the Collapse Serpent, the Deep Sea Serpent, so they won't be able to summon that one out, but they do have the ability to summon out the Ice Jade monster here, which can allow them to go into a synchro if they want to. Sometimes you do see the changing being made, but a lot of the times you're like not going to. Like we see the Link 3 monster in their extra deck there, which is going to be a pretty good card against this. They also have the XYZs that like make you bounce cards, so that's like also pretty crazy to let you like facilitate an OTK. So we're going to see them go up into Coral, and then Coral will activate the effect, allowing us to summon back out a water monster. And then we're going to activate the effect of that water monster, discarding the Shadow Squatter once again. And that's going to allow everything to become level 7, which allows him to go up into the XYZ. I believe there's 2 of them. Yeah, so it goes up in this, but to then overlay up into the new QCR, which is pretty nice. It reborns out a whole bunch of cards by bouncing cards, I believe. Or when it's sent to the graveyard, it bounces stuff. I'm not exactly sure, but it has a pretty cool effect where it bounces 3 cards. But it's pretty nice. So it's like going to facilitate an OTK here in a second. So he's going to activate the effect, detaching to summon out. And like it bounces 3. So it's pretty cool, honestly. You know, it's just going to make it so that we just get OTK'd here. Which I guess is kind of a little bit of a spoiler, but yeah, so I was like, okay, well, we're going to bounce back the cards. We're going to be able to play still, but we have like 3 level 4s on the field, so it's not going to be that good. So we're going to see the effect, which that will allow them to summon out the bodies from the deck, and they bounce back all 3. And they send the Dragoons to the graveyard here, bouncing back all 3. And then we're going to search for the Minstrel. It's going to be the card that lets you see the hand rip, which is pretty cool. But Yeah, and then we can summon out, or we link away for the one that summons back out 3 here. Like, it's going to be a pretty cool combo where they go up into this. This is going to be the new link monster, and then they're going to be able to discard the effect, and that's going to bring them out 3 level 3s from the graveyard here, which is going to just be an OTK. Or it's 3 from the deck, I guess. Or no, yeah, the search is for the spell, and then they get the summon 3 from the graveyard. And this, I believe, gives it 500 damage or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not 100% sure on the Atlantean combo. I'm going to learn it when the next set drops. I don't really think there's a point of playing this deck currently until the next set. Obviously, you do get good practice by playing the deck. You have to understand some of the cards a little bit better, but it's not going to be as good as we'll see until the next set, of course. When they do get, I think it's 3 new cards that kind of support the whole deck. And one of them is a crazy card as well. So, obviously, you want to play the deck at full power, not at half power here. So we're going to see them just go battle phase, and it's just going to be enough for game here. Because they do have an attack that gains 500. So that's going to be it for us. They're also going to be able to reborn back out the level 7, or the rank 7 here, and that's going to be just enough for game. So we are going to be losing game 2 here. Moving on to game 3, we're going to go first. And we can't get hit with D-Barrier going first, which is pretty nice. Unless you're playing against Labyrinth, of course. But luckily for us, our matchups are not always against Labyrinth. There's at least Labyrinth Duel every single week on the channel because there is lots of Labyrinth at our locals. But fortunately, we don't have to play against it right now. I do sometimes wish that D-Barrier would get banned or the Red Reboot would come back. But the problem with Red Reboot, it just punishes so many decks that only play 1 trap card. Thrust is so cool because you can set a trap. I think that's necessarily fair. Maybe put D-Barrier down to 1 would be a little bit more just in my opinion. But a lot of the decks, even Malice having 1 trap set and then getting hit with a Red Reboot would not be very fun. You see way back in the Tri Brigades had 1 trap. You have Memento that has 1 trap. You have the Azumina cards have 1 trap. A whole bunch of decks that just have 1 trap in the deck would just get so punished by having those copies of Red Reboot, which is just an automatic flip up win card. When that's one of their interaction. Even look at Branded, where I guess Banishment isn't played as much, but you can still play 1 trap card and still be pretty good in your deck. I like that we have gone back to a format where you can play 1 trap, and this will be very nice. Now I know Lancia and D-Barrier have been problematic cards on and off from formats, and they're trap cards with air quotes there, but it's nice to see a format where you can just go into it, which is why I like the Fiendsmith stuff personally myself a lot in the deck because you do get the ability to go up into the Fiendsmith cards, and they can't just D-Barrier. If you call XYZ, you can go up into Link monsters, and then you can still play. But we are going to be diving into game number 3 here with Ryzeal. Fiendsmith going first. It's going to be us. We're going to start off with a Bonfire here, so it's going to be trying to hit a hand trap, but it does not get hit. And honestly, if I recall correctly, we actually don't even have anything else in the hand. So we're just going to normal summon the ice, activate the effect, and that's going to go through. They're going to let us search for the X. And the reason why I didn't shuffle my hand is because I want them to think that I have something else. So by doing that, I'm just going to immediately normal summon the ice, go up into the X, just try to go for the combo. I'm not even using any other cards in my hand, just showing off, this is all off of 1 card. Do you really want to stop this here? And so now they go for the Requiem. And this is going to be definitely the correct Ash target. If you want to stop the Requiem correctly with only 1 hand trap, let's say you only have 1 Ash Blossom in the hand, this is a card you're going to Ash. So they're going to think on this. They do opt to Ash the Requiem, which is definitely the correct play, especially if you only have 1 hand trap. Now we do have the Sword here. So that's going to be the extender that we end up getting off of the X. And then Sword's going to be able to activate the effect, allowing us to summon out another body. And this is, fortunately for us, where we can kind of go for that. So now we're going to go for the X. X is going to send the copy of Meteor Logic, summoning itself out. And now we can go for the Dual Drive if we want to here, but that is kind of greedy into a second hand trap, but a Detonator is also as well. So we're going to see the effect can activate to attach, and then we're going to activate the effect to detach to search for 2. And it is going to resolve here, so we're going to search for the node as well as the cross. And the reason why you have to attach it is we're already losing to any hand trap regardless, so being able to attach lets us have the cross negate without having to use a Detonator, which is kind of important to note. So we're going to activate the cross, putting back 2 to draw. And we do end up drawing into a Nibiru, I believe. But then that nice slick slide of the card was very, very nice. I liked it quite a bit. We're going to see a special note of the node that we end up searching here. The node's going to activate the effect discarding a copy of Lurie. And then that's going to allow us to summon back out that X. And then we can go up to the Detonator. Detonator can attach the copy of the Meteor Logic in the graveyard that we end up discarding off the X, or sending off the X tier. And then we kind of have the cross and a triple Detonator, which is pretty good in this current format. So we're going to be seeing them attach, and that's going to be with alongside a set card and just a pass turn on this. Now, we were debating going for Abyss Dweller here, but we ended up not doing it. Now, looking back, he told us that Abyss Dweller would have just automatically showed on the deck, so we are playing in the future. We definitely are going to go for Abyss Dweller, but I don't have anything else here. I don't have any other, like, I have 3 hand traps in the hand and a Judgment set, so pretty rough. And now we do see the Ice Jade activate the effect and sending the Neptibus, and then we are going to think if we want to stop this. Now, I want to stop it because I don't want him to have 2 bodies on the field going up into a synchro. So I stop that there. On the normal summon of the Prince, we do Judgment the summon, which takes us down to 4,000. And there's just a defeat here. And they have like Full Roast in the hand, which they end up drawing for turn. They have the Ice Kai, and they have a Talents, which they cannot use. Now, we do have triple hand traps in the hand as well. And our next draw was going to be something else. Now, we do talk here a bit, saying like, oh, well, if I would have gone for a copy of Dweller, then the game would have been essentially over immediately. So looking back, I guess looking into the future here, if you're playing Ryzeal or you have an option to make a rank 4, if you make a rank 4, which is the Abyss Dweller, the Water deck just cannot beat that at all. I think it's the only cards that can beat it is the Ice Jade cards, making them have a board. But yeah, so they can kind of show us the cards. We do have GGs here. If you guys want to see this in POV, definitely stay tuned. It's going to be on the channel next week. But regardless, hope you're watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, more content like this. Don't forget to stay safe. Peace.